What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about 1 Mile, Chapter 1. This is the prequel to 8 Mile. They went way back with this one. They're going to do all of the miles in chapters. So eventually we will get up to 8 Mile. So if you're a big into the world of 8 Mile and you've been sitting here wondering what about the miles that came before it, this movie is for you. I'm kidding. Subscribe. Stars Ryan Philippe, uh, and I guess C. Thomas Howell, mainly Ryan Philippe, and a young actress that plays his daughter, who I'm not familiar with, and I think this is like her breakthrough performance. So, it does have audio description. I'm not sure who did it though. I stayed till the end of the credits, and I don't think anybody ever jumped in with like credits. It just kind of petered out at the end. It's Republic Pictures. Usually for Paramount Republic, it's Media Access Group. Maybe, maybe, maybe. So it's a weird film. It's about an hour and a half though, so it's 90 minutes. So you get kind of in and out. I love that some people are like, "Well, it drags." I'm like, "Does it? Does it drag?" It's 90 minutes. What's your expectation for 1 mile? It's also chapter one, which is kind of audacious in and of itself because then it suggests sort of like the horizon. Like I was immediately after I watched this movie, I was like, "Where's Horizon Chapter 2?" Because Horizon Chapter 2 has actually already been filmed, and it still hasn't been released. So if Kevin Costner can't get Horizon Chapter 2 out, I'm like, how is 1 Mile Chapter 2? Like, how is that a thing? Anyway, so we at the beginning of the movie there's like a it's almost like the opening kill sequence in like a horror movie, although this film isn't a horror movie, but it's set up like that. There's a sequence at the beginning of the movie that kind of leads you to believe danger, Will Robinson. uh and I'm not going to spoil it. I don't want to ruin it, but there is a scene, so it doesn't start exactly with Ryan Philippe and his family, but he's there with his, I don't know, his estranged wife, I guess. He's a just recently retired or has recently exited the military father, and his ex-wife is like, well, our daughter wants to go see some colleges this summer, so why don't you take her? Because I can't be bothered. So I think it would be a great time for you to bond, is driving her all the hell all over the place to all these different colleges. So he does that. And at first, there's clear, like, he's happy she's there. She's not happy she's there. It's that kind of vibe in the car. And then they go to some colleges, and he gets a little hint of the fact that maybe she doesn't want to be the career that her mom wants her to be, and picks up a little bit on that she loves being an artist and wants to, but hasn't felt like she could tell her mom that she wants to apply to art schools, but there's an art school that's relatively nearby in the grand scope of America. I would say 8 hours away is at least relatively nearby. I guess. I mean, it's not like she makes him drive from like LA to New York, like, I know we're down here in LA, but there's an art school in New York that I would really love to tour. Can we go? I'm like, no, no. Um, so they head back to the art school, and then on the way, they find themselves in, I guess, the same place where the strangers are now, like out in the middle of nowhere, where just bad shit happens to people. There's some places, I guess, in this country that you're just not supposed to go. That's the hint here. A lot of fundamentalist woodsy types, and here they run into some incels, and they get to a gas station, and she immediately picks up on a vibe from this one guy who, his like opening remarks to her are like inherently creepy. He doesn't even try to hide it. This guy is so ballsy about it that the first words out of his mouth when he sees her are to leer at her and go, "What are you, 16, 17?" I was like, oh my God. No hello? No, what are you doing back here? Oh my. So, and we've already seen them cut to this community in the woods, and their women are experiencing stillbirths. So, this movie gonna get weird real fast. Uh, so Ryan is a fully capable man in this movie. He is whatever action star you have ever dreamed of. He's as prepared as everybody else has ever been for any movie ever. So he has a tent in the back seat. And he's like, we can just camp. Like, we don't know where a hotel is. I'm good to just sleep in the woods. So he asks the creepy lady at the store where they could camp, and she leads him to this campground, which ends up being a trap because she's part of the community that they're in there to try to capture these women for breeding. So that's what this movie's about. I told you it was an incel movie. I'm not kidding. Um, and these guys who are armed to the teeth like approach and try to get his daughter, but he puts up quite a fight, just starts killing people. And then, but in the first fight, they do kind of defeat him, but not kill him. So then the rest of the movie is him spending the time trying to fight his way back in as she's being pulled into this community, learning more about it, learning more about these people, learning about the creepy C. Thomas Howell, and the concept of breeding and what that means for her. And praying to God that her dad is still out there somewhere. um, so that's 1 Mile Chapter 1. It does finish and set up a chapter 2. So it's not one of those movies that like lingers on like it's like half complete and you have to watch like part 1 and part 2. I don't know why it's called Chapter 1 because they could have literally just done 1 mile and then like 1 mile 2 or one more mile, or I don't know. But 2 miles, I don't know. But it is kind of odd that they're doing, because or just wait for 1 mile 2 and call it chapter 2, because it's not like anybody calls. We did that for John Wick, right? Chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. But we didn't go back and rename the one. Nobody said John Wick chapter 1, just John Wick. John Wick chapter 2. Like we just move on. So 1 mile could have done that. I don't know. I mean, it's gotten kind of a tepid reception from everyone. It has like a mid-level rating on IMDb. Critics are kind of mid on it. I can see why. I mean, I'm not mad at it, but I'm also not like, wow, thank God I saw this movie. I do think it's sort of audacious that there's already a 2, and it's not like this movie went to theaters and got, tons of money. So like how did they finance 2 films already for this franchise? But I did not like it. That's always the thing, is it's like, would I recommend it? Would I not recommend it? Fresh versus rotten. For people who are looking for action movies, I've certainly seen worse this year. I have seen worse action movies this year. I've seen action movies I didn't like. I've seen action movies that have no point or purpose. This one is Ryan Philippe going in and kicking a whole bunch of incels' asses. And that is, to me, intriguing and interesting, and I'm here for it. Amazon has put out some stuff like The Wrecking Crew that I just kind of thought was kind of a mess. Talented people, but just kind of gets lost inside of itself. So I've definitely seen films that I didn't like nearly as much this year that are in the action genre. So this one is, I always find it hard, like when you get right around the middle, almost like the coin flip, coin toss realm to fully define why yes or why no. And so my gut instinct here is to lean more towards yes because um, it is a brief 90 minutes. I do think it actually, I would push back on pacing for people who are just like, the movie's not paced, it's slow. But then we're saying like we don't want character development in these kinds of movies. The good thing about it is that it actually has character development. Like you don't, it doesn't just throw Ryan Philippe and this girl into a situation within the first 5 minutes of the movie and we don't know who they are and we're just like, well, do you need to know anything else other than father, daughter, and the other guys are bad? Do you? I mean, it kind of enriches the film a little bit to actually have some knowledge and to have some connection. He sits down and looks at her like art portfolio, like things that she sketched. There's a reason why the pacing is where it is, and it's because somebody actually decided to have some character development here, and I'm not going to hit them for that. That's going to be my thumbs up. That's going to be the reason that I use to push it forward because so many times we get these like mysterious military men with like no background other than I fight, I kill. Like, what else do you do? I don't do anything else. I have a particular set of skills that I've garnered over a period, and I'm gonna use them. Um, but this one actually kind of sets up the film a little bit better, just a little bit, just a dab better than that, and it rises to a certain point. I mean, you can see that he's got his skills. He gets a little overwhelmed, and then he gets defeated for the moment. So then he has to like roar back because he realizes now his daughter's been taken. So you get that whole like adventure part of the film. It works. Like the film works for what it is if you're signing up for this. And the villains are people you're not gonna like. It's not like this isn't one of those films where it feels like we're making fun of like conservatives. These people are incels, man. They're breeding, they're kidnapping young girls and having sex with them. Like, this is not a film where like people go to the other side and go like, but what's their story? Like, have we thought about like on the other side? They're just trying to live their lives in the woods. They just these, these are a peaceful folk. It's like, nah, they set up a trap and they kidnap an underage girl. Like, what's your problem? So you're also given a villain that is impossible to like. So I think One Mile Chapter One, oddly enough, did everything it was supposed to do. I kind of came into this film thinking it was probably going to be a rotten review. I was like, I feel like this is probably not going to be good enough. But I kind of think it is. I'm here for it a little bit. Not a lot, but I'm here for it a little bit. Um, and if it came across your pathway and this is your kind of vibe of movie, I would say watch it. It's worth the journey. Ryan Philippe, maybe not the most obvious action star to be in this movie, but aren't you tired of seeing Jason Statham in everything? Like, at this point, Jason Statham and Dave Bautista. So it was a nice change of pace to have Ryan Philippe. I think his acting chops work more in the scenes where he doesn't have to punch and kick and kill and those kind of things. So the audio description was flat. I didn't really much care for it for an action movie. Um, but I mean, some people love flat narration. I just think for an action movie, it was just very sort of like, and then they come in and he breaks in with him. It was well written though. Like that's the thing is it's like written versus the choice of narrator. I liked the writing. There was a point where it kind of described her sketches. I thought it tried to do a good job of that. There was a point where his first kill, they described that he does it with like something like incredible speed or accuracy or something like that to indicate the fact that like you're supposed to be like, oh shit, like this guy, this guy's got it. He's got the skills. Which is how you're supposed to feel because up until that point, he hasn't really mentioned a whole lot about his background, about like being special forces or how many kills he has. He's not going around bragging and be like, when I was in the military, I killed 4,000 people. And no, so you don't really know how good he is. And then that first kill that he gets is kind of like the first one where you go, oh, damn. All right. So he's got some training. And I think that's also what his enemies end up clocking, is the fact that they kind of mess with somebody who can actually fight back. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna give 1 Mile Chapter One. I'm gonna give it a 6.4 out of 10. We're gonna lean fresh on this. We're gonna go a little fresh on this one, which is surprising for me. I'll admit that. I kind of came into this thinking this is probably not gonna be a fresh movie, especially when I saw Republic Pictures. Although they are on Twinless, so I always associate Republic Pictures. They've made so many like films. It's like Paramount's label. Um, yeah, the guys that just bought the studio that put out One Battle, Sinners, Weapons, Superman last year. They also have a label, Republic, and they use it to put out a whole bunch of like films every year. Anyway, that's it. That's what I got. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.